It's the Chris Salcedo Show. Glad you've tuned in, everybody. Our telephone number is 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Want to bring in our guest? His name, well, you know the face, Matt Schlapp, former senior advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign, previously served in communications for the White House, and, of course, the leader of CPAC, Matt Schlapp. Hey, my man, welcome.
Great to be with you, Chris.
Great to have you. Look, I want to, before we get to the big reason why I wanted to have you on about CPAC coming to Texas once again, let's talk about some of the news of the day. The Iran operation, Epic Fury. Your take?
My take is I think Donald Trump is a reluctant warrior. I don't think he wants to use the military in an offensive or aggressive way, and I think he only does when it's necessary. And I think we have 3 wars going on. There might not be hot wars, but China is obviously at war with us. The drug cartels are obviously at war with us, and the jihadists are obviously at war with us. And I think
Democrats too.
Well, the Democrats, I call them the socialist Democrats because they are embracing socialism.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely the communist, socialist.
The point is that I think Donald Trump got actionable intelligence that Iran still had nuclear capabilities, was very close to still, putting this diabolical weapon together, and their missile technology was much more advanced than we realized, which makes us and our allies vulnerable.
Indeed. There was a story that came out recently about, I think it was a Harris X poll, 50-50. Now the Republicans have pulled in, and on these generic ballots, if the Republicans are at 50 or even within, 2 points lower, they usually have a great election. And the left-wing media doesn't know what to do with this because it's been an 8-point swing in the Republicans' favor, despite everything they've thrown at the president for enforcing law, for the operation against Iran. What is your take? What is your sense, despite John Thune's best efforts, which we'll get to here in a minute, that how is this next midterm election shaping up as far as you're concerned?
Well, I feel like I'm one of the few people walking around Washington, D.C. that hasn't given up hope. I think we got a fighting chance in both these chambers to hold on to a majority. And I think the economy is going to be the number one indicator or driver. And I think the economy is going to get a little better every week, every month. I know we don't have a lot of months between here and there, but economic growth is strong and people are feeling better about the economy. And we have to remind them about the damage of these Joe Biden policies. It takes a little while to get out of it. Prices will never come down. This is the problem. Gas can fluctuate. There are other commodities can fluctuate, but most of the prices in our everyday life, once they raise them so high, no corporations are really going to lower them unless they need to, because of the willingness to pay. When you get used to spending $11 for a cheeseburger, they don't move. But the question is, do they continue to rise at that level? And they're not. And so over time, it evens out and the American people start to feel better about the economy. And look, polling is kind of a lost art. I think people should be very careful with polling. CNN came out with a poll and it was, Donald Trump is at like -10 in his approval ratings. Next thing you know, this Harvard Harris poll came out and Republicans were even. The number one goal of the propagandist media, Chris, is to dispirit us, demoralize us, make us think that what we know is right is actually wicked and evil and racist and wrong. And then finally get us to the point where we think there's no point to voting because Donald Trump isn't on the ballot or for whatever reason. And so don't fall for their psychological warfare, which they're so good at.
Yeah, I'm hip. So let's pay attention to what's happening in the Senate, or what's more accurately, what's not happening. 3 months ago, it was Senator Kennedy who was saying for 5 months we've been sitting on our duffs doing nothing. So 8 months they've been sitting on their duffs doing nothing. John Thune gets up there and says, "Hey, look, America, we put together we passed a Democrat housing bill," and I said to the leader, the dear leader, "You misspelled SAVE Act, sir. You mispronounced SAVE Act."
Right.
I don't think the conservative movement and the Republican base is in the mood to see anything move in that chamber except for the SAVE Act. And it seems to me, and I'm eager to hear your political evaluation. You've been doing this a lot longer than I have. Uh, it seems to me that the Republicans on the Senate side are trying to screw over the House, trying to depress the Republican vote so that they can hand over the Senate to Democrats so we can get back to corruption as usual. What do you think?
That might be a couple of clicks too cynical for me, Chris, but it is true that the Senate somehow stopped functioning. It stopped working. They stopped voting. I can remember. I always loved politics since I was a young man, and I can remember when the Senate used to be voting on the meaty issues of the day on a regular basis.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in the McConnell years, really in the Harry Reid years, that all stopped. They did what they called filled the trees so that senators couldn't just go to the floor and offer any amendment. The Senate used to be a mostly free flowing body without rules. Like the House has these strict rules, the Senate doesn't. You could come, bring in legislation, bring amendments, and then the majority leader started getting more and more power. And under Mitch McConnell, that turned into a political thought that we shouldn't bring anything controversial to the floor. We shouldn't bring anything to the floor of the Senate that causes division amongst Republicans. And when you have Murkowski and Collins in there, that means you can't bring anything to the floor. And I used to deal with senators a lot, and still do, but even more in the old days. And you would sit and meet with these fossilized human beings and their staff, and you would say, "Hey, why don't we cause a brush fire on this important issue?" And they just get all constipated and look at you like, "Yeah, but is that going to become law?" And I was like, "Well, it's never going to become law if you don't start talking about it and voting on it." I mean, on the SAVE Act, they should be able to they should just bring it to the floor every week and make everyone who's against it look like what they are, which is they are either
Yes.
cheaters themselves or
Yes.
trying to cover up the cheating that's going on in our elections. We vote in a way that no other democracy in the world votes. No, everybody laughs at us, and actually they're scared that with the fact that you can vote in this country and be here illegally, you can vote in this country more than one time, you can vote in this country, you can set your own rules to how you want to vote, and no other democracy does that. Matter of fact, we don't recognize other people's elections if they vote like us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fossilized, constipated, you say, and you say I'm cynical. That's I mean,
Well,
Matt
look, I
Schlapp,
think John Thune inherits a Senate that was run by Mitch McConnell for a long time.
or
He was
didn't
made
run. Yes.
he was made the majority leader because you have to win the votes. And the only way he could get the votes is there was not a desire to change how the Senate operates. Now, Rick Scott, who ran for majority leader, wants to change them. It seems like the most important vote in the Senate is the vote for who this leader is. And John Thune is reflecting what the senators want. So it's really not all his fault. But we got to elect more people in there like Rick Scott and Mike Lee and others like them, Ted Cruz, and really change the mentality of the Senate. The number one thing is it's really not ideological. Everyone thinks it's ideological. It's really not. It's just lethargy. They've fallen into this idea that the only thing they really have to do is ask tough questions at hearings and pass a budget bill and confirm judges and Trump appointees. Beyond that, they act like there's no more time.
They're
This
not
is
even doing
absurd.
that. They're not even look, we've
Not
got so
doing
many.
judges. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got so many U.S. attorneys outstanding, and the
Yep.
reason why the Senate Republicans are not nominating them is because they are in districts that will go after Democrats for their illegality. And I'm sorry, the Senate Republicans are protecting Democrats' illegality. They're also protecting the Democrats' ability to cheat at the ballot box. That's the net effect of what's happening here.
And
Uh,
they're covering up the lawfare, which a lot
yeah,
of Republicans in this town didn't want to speak up against for the fear that they'd be the next victim. This is this old phrase in Washington D.C. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So they want to be at the table in the deals so that the left doesn't turn on them. And we got
well,
to stand together against this lawfare. Every single one of us should be arm in arm, making sure that no one's phone conversations are being listened in on by the FBI, that people's homes aren't being raided indiscriminately because of their political views.
true
This is
enough.
outrageous.
Uh, by the way, folks, Matt Schlapp is our guest right now, the head honcho over at CPAC. So let's talk about CPAC. You know, Texas is voting today. We are
Yep.
heading out of the polls. Praise God, giving a reckoning to rhinos. We have been pushing to get rid of any Republican who has facilitated power for Democrats. They didn't earn to the ballot box, power to harm us. So that's the big push. Does CPAC get involved in
Yeah.
primaries?
Yeah, not in each and every case, but many times. For instance, we endorsed Aaron Wrights in the AG race. If I were in Texas, I'd be voting for Ken Paxton, who's a close friend. I think he's the right person to be the next senator in Texas. But I will be honest, Wesley Hunt has a very strong record with us. He's in the mid 90s, I believe, lifetime. So he's a very good member of the House, which makes it difficult to endorse in those situations. But Ken Paxton is just been the best AG in the country.
Yes.
Our longtime friend. I can't think of an issue that he hasn't led on, and I'm glad all the polls show that he'll have an overwhelming victory today, and I'm hopeful and glad for it.
Yep. President of the United States endorsing on some state level races, and many are wondering why he decided to endorse against Governor Abbott, who he endorsed, which is really weird. But something happened there, and I think it has something to do with these fake Republicans we have in the Texas House. There's been so much blowback against President Trump and his team for not researching these fake Republicans and then giving his endorsement just for one transaction, which was a big one. Don't get me wrong. Parental school choice and education freedom. I think that the president and his team wasn't fully read in on exactly who he was endorsing. Many of them were vehement, never Trumpers. Last thing, and this is about CPAC coming to Texas. Once the dust settles here from the primaries, CPAC is coming to North Texas. Tell us when, where, what you guys are going to be doing.
Go to cpac.org and you can get your tickets and get all the information. Tickets, it's a 4-day event, and tickets are as low as $45. So everyone can afford it, thank God. And it's going to be a great event. DC became a tough sell. I'll be honest. It's better with Donald Trump here, but people just don't want to go to their nation's capital. It's been crime ridden. It's cold. And the people who live around populate Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. Virginia just elected a socialist as governor. They're not very hospitable. And I just listened to a lot of our attendees who said, let's go get this to a red state. We've tried Texas and Florida before for our big events. They worked great. So we're giving it another shot this year. It's March 25th through the 28th, and everyone needs to come out.
Yep. And what city? I know it's in North Texas. It's not going to be in Dallas proper, is it? Where you guys are going to? What is it?
Grapevine.
Oh, you're going to be in Grapevine. Okay.
Yep.
And
we were told, don't pick sides between Dallas and Fort Worth, so we listened.
Yeah, good idea. It's one of the center cities there. And where is the resort you guys are going to be conducting the
It's
event?
another Gaylord property, and the people who run it came to see us and said basically, look, you're not being treated very well in this hotel. Why don't you come be with us? And we took them up on it.
Gaylord Texan, folks, in North Texas. It's a beautiful facility. I've been there many times, especially around Christmas time. They do a great job. And that's where CPAC is coming to town. You can get your tickets. And I told Mercy that we're going to be there. We're going to be broadcasting live from CPAC.
We're going to have you speak, Chris. You better be there.
Yeah, it's our stomping grounds, as it were. All right, give the website one more time so folks can go get there and get their tickets and make their way to Texas.
Well, you can follow me on X at @mschlapp, and you can go to our website at CPAC, and you can see everyone who's been announced, who's coming, although most of the big names are still to come, and figure out what kind of ticket you want to get and come hang out with us.
It's going to be fun. And this is going to be my third CPAC. It's always a great time. Buddy, thank you very much. Always
Chris.
appreciate the time you carve out for us. There goes Matt Schlapp, folks, here on the Chris Salcedo Show. Telephone numbers 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. It's election day in Texas. It is time for a rhino reckoning. How many of these fake Republicans can you and I send packing?